Hello, welcome back to Aetheral Space 14.10 Cheese Course. We are back.
Welcome, Aetherheads.
And we have a bit of cheese.
Last time on Aetheral Space, Morgan touched victory, and things occurred.
Why did you say it like that?
And Morgan reunited with Musashi! No, and Jamilu lost an arm, I think?
He lost he got a big gouge out of his arm, a big bit of it, ripped out.
So his arm's fine.
Yeah, he's not lost it. He got
in terms of Aetheral Space, he's fine.
He got the classic bleach injury where someone's
he got the JoJo injury that you can get in a stand battle that doesn't mean death, but it's
that's
a hole
every
in your arm.
In JoJo.
Yeah,
you can get
just massive red holes. Yeah. All right, shall we? Didn't
someone lose a hand and got stapled? Yeah, Abaki lost a hand and got stapled back on. I remember in between episodes.
Gotta love it. All right, 9:45. H, mumbled Morgan, and then a moment's hesitation later. A. The effect of the amplified heal hurt on Jamilu Aguta was immediate. The sheen of sweat created by the ability's initial activation intensified into frenzied flashing, the warrior's eyes rolling beneath their lids. In a way, Morgan supposed it was a blessing that the man was unconscious. He certainly wouldn't want to experience this awake. How does it work again?
So, heal hurt is like two abilities in one, basically. It heals you. Well, it's two... Well, yeah. It heals you at the cost of hurting you, and it hurts you at the cost of healing you.
Okay, so it can cause you great pain, but fix the wound, or it can ease your...
the way the way the power up works on it, because it's got the condition, is when it's used on an enemy, the condition is I'm inflicting pain on you, but the cost for that pain is that I also have to heal you. And if you use it on an ally or yourself, the cost is I'm healing myself at the cost of inflicting great pain upon myself.
Oh, that's fucked up. In a way, Morgan supposed it was a blessing that the man was unconscious. He certainly wouldn't want to experience this awake. He kept the ability active for about 5 seconds before taking his hand away from Jamilu's forehead and looking up at Rufus. His body should pick up the slack from there, he explained. It won't bring his finger back or completely repair his arm, but he'll be able to move around at least. They'd broken into one of the shopping center's furniture stores to get Jamilu a sickbed, and now the pilfered bed looked completely out of place, resting next to the inactive water fountain at the building's heart. If the circumstances weren't so dire, Morgan might even have smiled at that. The tension was thick in the air. Ruth Blaine sat a short distance away, and the Delseds and another girl Morgan didn't recognize. Rufus stood watch over Aguta, arms crossed, ready to defend with his body the moment an attack came. Musashi, for his part, stood high above, on a walkway overlooking the building's central plaza. Was he keeping watch too, or did he just need time to think? Nobody's expression held much promise. So, Morgan said, standing up, wiping some of the sweat from his brow, what's the plan from here? How are we getting out of here? It wouldn't be easy. They were surrounded, after all. Morgan had felt it as he'd come in. Eyes were on this place, eyes from every angle. The bounty hunters had already known this was the place they would gather. How long until they decided nobody else was coming, and finally launched their attack? Rufus clicked his tongue. That, he began, before shaking his head, that I need to talk to Jamilu about. When he wakes up. Talk to me about it then, said Jamilu Aguta. Morgan's eyes widened as his head snapped down to the man in the sickbed. He'd expected Aguta to be out of commission for a few more hours yet. They really did build these nebula differently, didn't they? You can't use it twice. It doesn't hit as hard the second time.
It just did. It wasn't meant to hit as hard. It was just a line. You've assigned it greater meaning.
Have I?
You just said, yeah. You see, it's not. You notice it's not on its own line or anything like that. It's not meant to hit in the same way.
Editing my Royal Road review from 5 stars to 4.
That's it. I'm using my ability M, the miracle.
What does that do?
I'm making a miracle occur for me, and you're getting struck by lightning.
Jamilu Aguta had obviously seen better days. He looked like he was remaining conscious through sheer force of will, but still he had the strength to turn his head to Rufus. The Ultraviolets should have prepared us a ship, he said quietly. What's the issue? Rufus breathed in deep through his nose. They were taken out before we got here. There aren't any bodies, but there's blood on the roof. Only explanation I can see. I see. Jamilu closed his eyes for a moment. And the ship? Whoever was here did a number on it. The repair automatics are already on the job, but it's going to take a while. How long? 6 hours, Rufus sighed. Maybe 7. Hearing that, Jamilu went to get up, only to be pushed back down onto the bed by Rufus's firm hand. No, the Pugnant said in a tone that permitted no argument. We can't just wait here for 7 hours, Jamilu said seriously. They'll begin their attack sooner or later. We need to find another way off. It's too late, Rufus said. We're stuck here. Only half of us are in any condition to move, and we're already surrounded. We try to leave at this point, and we're fucked. Jamilu groaned, pressing a hand against his face. For a moment, Morgan thought he might try and get up again. But no, he slumped back down. Fine, Jamilu finally said to Rufus. This place should have security automatics. Get into the security office and get them activated. Hopefully they'll give us some breathing room if the bounty hunters try and get in. Rufus nodded, turning without another word and running off to the administrative section of the building. Morgan watched him go before looking back down at Nebula too. How about the rest of us? He asked. Well, Jamilu ran a weary hand over a weary face. Sit and wait, I guess. This is the place? Gretchen asked. Balte nodded.
When does this happen?
How do you...
Darnell, by the way?
Oh, sorry, 11:02.
Thank you.
This is the place? Gretchen asked. Is that her voice? I forgot what she sounds like.
Yeah, something like that.
So, Balte nodded. How do you know? Balte gave no answer. Emerald aether flowed into his eyes as he took in the battlefield before him. It was strange to call the shopping center a battlefield, as no fighting had actually happened yet, but Balte knew it to be true all the same. He could see the aftermath of a dozen slaughters overlaid over reality here. Frowning, he wiped Leviathan clean of blood with a handkerchief. The remnants of the Crimson Carnival had claimed several buildings surrounding the Alan Grace Memorial Shopping Center, and Balte's forecasts had indicated the assassins at this construction site would be the easiest to dispatch. They'd been accurate in this case. You still haven't explained, Gretchen said softly. How did you get out of the asylum? Explained what? Balte asked, for Gretchen's benefit. How did you get out of the asylum? He glanced back over his shoulder at him. I assume at her.
Yeah, himself was a mirror.
An effusion leaving his electric blue eyes. Is he a cogitant? Is he a Kagi? The Supreme ordered me released, he said quietly. That's why you were working with him, wasn't it? Gretchen's eyes widened fractionally. Seriously? She said. So he still considers us allied? Is that a surprise? Of course it's a surprise! Gretchen snapped, running her hands through her hair. What are we even doing then, sneaking around like this? If the Supreme considers me as ally, he won't have to put me on the hit list for the banquet. Naturally. So what are we doing here, Balte? Gretchen threw her hands up. At this point, we shouldn't have anything to do with this. Let's just go home and watch Musashi get killed on the news or something. Do you really want to kill him yourself that bad? Lying never ended well in this situation. And besides, Balte didn't like the idea of lying to Gretchen. No matter how she had done it, she had stuck by him all this time. He owed her at least a sliver of honesty. I don't want to kill Musashi, he said. Gretchen frowned. What? I don't want to kill Musashi.
No, I know that sounds bad.
Ragnarok 4H! I don't want to kill Musashi, Balte repeated in his calm monotone. But he and I have unfinished business. That's business I intend to conclude before I leave. Gretchen rubbed the bridge of her nose with 2 fingers, clearly fending off a headache. She began before sighing. What kind of business? There'll be a fight here in this building, within the next few hours. It's paramount that I win that fight. Will you help me? Oh. There was no good reason for Gretchen to say yes. Balte was being bizarre. Had his time in the asylum actually affected his mind? He'd just gotten out of there, after all. Maybe he needed rest before he should be up and about like this. By all means, she should say no. But, when she'd been alone, Balte Kojiro had extended a hand to her. But, when she'd been ignored, Balte Kojiro had believed in her ideas. But... Okay, she said softly. Not once in her life had Gretchen Hale been able to say no to Balte Kojiro. What? The Return of the King, baby! Me when I'm fucking infested my worst enemy? Oh, the misery?
Oh, the
man.
happiness. Imagine dragons. That's it.
Oh, the happiness. Everybody wants to give me presents.
Everybody wants to be my friend.
Everybody wants to be my friend and me. 12:17, in
this
case you were
calls
lost.
for a celebration. Hit it, Imagine Dragons.
My baby doll. That's not Imagine Dragons. 12:17. Oh, that's...
Musashi, okay?
Sorry. Ioneer, Musashi muttered, looking out over the dark garden of the shopping center. Yep, Morgan said, standing alongside him atop the bridge. His hands clutched the railing in front of him tight, as if it was the only thing preventing him from being swept away. Musashi didn't bother. He knew he was already at the current's mercy. You're sure? Musashi asked. You're sure he's gone? We were together a long time, Morgan said, narrowing his eyes wistfully. Even when we were separated, I could feel him, I guess? An itch at the back of my skull. I don't feel that anymore. And Musashi took in a deep breath. Gretchen Hale was the one who did it? Morgan nodded. Hapgrass was Hale. I guess she must have used some sort of aether armament to change her appearance. I don't know how she did it, but yeah, she did it. He nearly took her out too, but she did it. He blinked tears out of his eyes. She killed him. I see. Musashi closed his eyes, and hot anger rushed through cold veins. It seems vengeance lies in my hands now, Gretchen Hale. Don't worry, I'll hand it back to you soon. Morgan was still talking, even as Musashi's thundering heartbeat threatened to drown out his voice. I don't know what happened to Silver Saint, but I'm thinking Gregory took him out. I was fighting a Clima, so I don't know what exactly happened, but that's what I figure. He looked up at Musashi, his eyes grave. And Balte is out. Musashi blinked, and that thunderous heartbeat skipped a beat. What? He asked, his mouth dry. Everyone says it like that, by the way.
I know that sounds bad.
Bro, radiant dawn.
You just like bearer of bad news, you get shot for it.
Yeah, the new Aetheral Space YouTube poop.
Musashi's just a villain now.
Morgan nodded seriously. When the S4 captured us, he broke into the train they were using and slaughtered them. He got us out, me and Hale. Musashi's frown deepened. He just let you go? He was being really weird, Morgan said hesitantly, drumming his fingers along the railing. Really weird. From what he was saying, he seemed to think he could use me as bait for you. He shrugged lightly. Guess that didn't work out, huh? So he wants to settle the score, Musashi said, voice dull. Morgan nodded. I'd guess so, yeah. Revenge and revenge and revenge. Where does it end, Marie? Does it ever end? 12:49. Oh boy, Wu Ming said, perched on the central spire of a skyscraper, looking down at the shopping center through a pair of thread-woven binoculars. That's a 10 out of 10 shit show waiting to happen right there. I'd hate to be those guys. Well, if I was normal, I'd hate to be them. Same difference. Meriloko slowly rose into view behind him, arms crossed as he floated with an application of Unchained. The stoic man grunted as he inspected the cityscape before him as well, eyes sparking with purple aether. Fool, he said, glancing over at the former fourth contender. You don't need those. Just infuse your eyes. Wu Ming grinned, dropping the binoculars from his eye and swinging them by a loose thread. Well, I know that. Of course I know that. What do you take me for? Fool, Meriloko repeated. Clown. Deviant. Your words are harsh.
Oh my god, he's like, I know what you are.
There's a word that Tan wanted to write but could not.
No, Meriloko
he
would
didn't
not say
possess
it.
the permissions.
Meriloko would not say it, but Victory probably would say it. Is what I will say.
Victory would say it?
Victory would say slurs if this was real.
Your words are harsh, Wu Ming sighed theatrically, raising the binoculars once again. But I've heard harsher. You should have heard some of the stuff old Avaman came out with. Real poetic stuff. All killer, no filler, you know? Meriloko just glared. It seemed Wu Ming had reached the limits of the back and forth the other man was willing to entertain. He sighed again, slightly more genuinely. If you must know, he said, these binoculars are special. An armament of my own design. I mean, I designed and made them around 2 minutes ago, but they're still a Wu Ming original. A life sensor? Meriloko raised an eyebrow. Close! Wu Ming pinched his thumb and forefinger together. It's a thought sensor. People can aether a cloak and hide all sorts of vital signs, but I haven't met many people who can stop thinking on command. I can see all these little schemers in all these little buildings. You can read their thoughts? Meriloko asked, a trace of interest entering his voice despite his best efforts. No, Wu Ming admitted, but I can read the fact that they're thinking. Not too shabby, huh? Meriloko gave no response. The conversation, it seemed, was over. Wu Ming unraveled the binoculars, letting the strings fade away as he turned his head to look down at the balcony below. How are the kids doing? He asked. Excuse me. Oh, that's Nail. How are the kids doing? He asked.
No, that's what we make.
How are the kids doing? He asked. Got him. Nail Mandarin had elected to stand guard over a climber down below, and Gregory Hazard was still there too for some reason. How odd. Did he think he was part of the team or something? Bro thinks he's part of the team.
No one
He's
likes
not.
Gregory.
Damn.
Well, no one who knows Gregory likes Gregory.
It's fucked up.
The only person... It's so fucked up because Alexander's like, are you okay, Gregory? Where are you? Gregory has not thought about that man once, even in his inner monologue.
It's fucked up. How odd.
The only person who, likes him.
Did he think he was part of the team or something? He was free to leave. Well, Aklyma was free to leave too, but being surrounded by hostile bounty hunters didn't make that a very tempting kind of freedom. Kids, Mariloko snorted derisively. Hey, Wu Ming replied with mock outrage. I'm trying to be accommodating here. I assumed we'd all look like children to a 200-year-old man. Was that denial or acknowledgement? A request to keep going or a demand to shut up? Or perhaps it was just a grunt. How wonderful. These were the sorts of people that Wu Ming liked to speak with above all others. The sorts of people that didn't like to speak to him. Have you noticed? Mariloko said, dull eyes fixed on Aklyma. Yup, Wu Ming said, pirouetting on the spire. Mariloko narrowed his eyes. Something hellish is attached to that girl. That it is. My bet? Some kind of revenge ability from the Kennel Master. It's probably waiting for an opportune moment, and it'll definitely get one once things kick off. I'm looking forward to it showing itself. You? If it's going to be a threat, Mariloko said, glaring down at Aklyma's distant figure, we should just kill the girl now. He looked back up and he stopped. The look in Wu Ming's eyes had changed utterly, levity banished in an instant. They weren't just cold, they were ice. No, said the clown. The clown said darkly. That thing's mine. They waited. They rested. They healed. They waited. They repaired. They prepared. They waited. They feared. They dreaded. They waited. And 1749. God damn, you just fast forwarded through the majority of the day.
They're waiting for stuff to happen. They can't. What are they going to do? Everyone's waiting.
The hour formula abandoned in a single chapter.
What do you mean?
Because
time fucking passed!
We skipped like half the day. It's only a 20-hour day.
It's a siege! They're not just gonna fucking... The pace of events has slowed. What, do you want me to describe them sitting around doing fuck all for 5 hours?
No, I don't know why you designed the hour format if it was irrelevant, that's all.
It's not irrelevant. Because I did not describe every minute of the day does not make the fact that events are timed irrelevant.
1749. Atoy Muzazi, Ruth Blaine, the Headhunter, Rufus von Frostburn, Jamilu Aguta, and Morgan Noct. Appointment had confirmed the presence of 5 targets within the Allen Grace shopping center. As the hour stretched on, it was becoming increasingly unlikely that others would appear. He'd hoped that Aklyma might make an effort to reunite with her treacherous bodyguards, but that didn't seem likely. If he was going to do this, now was the time. The sun was sinking below the horizon once more. He'd have to be careful with his opening strikes. Fortunately, he'd already tapped into the building's surveillance systems. He'd be able to line up his initial shots without collateral damage, an initial volley of missiles to blast through the roof, then separate explosive shots for each of his targets. If he executed the maneuver correctly, he could be in and out within 15 seconds. There was a whirring sound as segments of his chassis rearranged themselves, plates gathering on his left arm to form a cannon. Within 10 seconds, he'd... Appointment's eyes widened as he saw the situation developing on the surveillance. Damn you, Anduan! 1752. It was time to move. Security automatics had posted themselves at each door, tall humanoid machines with huge saucer-like heads. They were only equipped with basic firearms and stun sticks, but they would still suffice to delay any attackers. Morgan had wrapped some of them in armor of amplified fog, too, which would boost their durability. Is the ship ready? Muzazi asked, running towards the stairwell along the group. Not yet, Rufus grunted. Jamilu was slung over one of his shoulders, the Del Seds over the other. But soon. We don't want to waste any time once we're ready to go. If anyone's watching us, Morgan said, sticking to Muzazi's side. If anyone's watching us, Morgan said, sticking to Muzazi's side, they might take us doing this as their go signal. Jamilu muttered, hanging off Rufus's shoulder, barely conscious. We need to make a move at some point, anyway. We can't just wait forever. Ruth Blaine just ran in silence, the same with the blonde girl next to her. Their expressions couldn't have been any different. Ruth Blaine's eyes had hardened into killer diamonds, while the girl's earlier confidence, or arrogance, seemed to have utterly crumbled. Musashi closed his eyes for a moment as they passed between the two automatics at the door. "Whatever the case," he said, "we crash!" Everyone moved at once. When Musashi opened his eyes, not even a second later, he was the centerpiece of a tableau of conflict. Morgan was charging towards him, smoke sword drawn. Rufus was whirling around, eyes wide in alarm, the legs of his cargo flapping in the air. Ruth had drawn her claws, sparks frozen in the air around her. The girl had cried out, pushed behind Ruth with a foot. And the head of the automatic next to Musashi had burst. Something had been inside it, nesting there, waiting for their chance. An emaciated man, his mouth wide open, leaping towards Musashi like a hungry missile. At this distance, with these injuries, the chance to dodge had come and gone. Sorry. "Fellas gotta eat!" Sharp teeth flew from Musashi's throat. "Scale breaker!" But never reached it. A pillar of roaring red light scorched right through the ceiling, utterly engulfing the man in midair. There was the briefest scream of pain, the briefest stink of burning flesh, and then the light vanished, replaced by a pile of charred black bones. They tumbled down into the hole the attack had burnt, the hole it had burnt all the way through the building. "Huh," said Morgan. There was the briefest silence. And then chaos descended upon the world. So I'm guessing he would have no-sold them all if Anduin hadn't tried to steal him. The kill stealer.
That is his basically. He did the same fucking thing in Arc 7.
Fellas gotta eat.
He just hated and got the target right at the end.
Itadakimasu. He's gotta take a bite. He simply must munch. The muncher. Alright. Fuck.
By killing me, you have now inherited my Aether chick. Now you are the hungry.
Now you must deal with the spite inside of me, white dog.
Black dog's like, so you're one of my people.
Alright, where did we leave off? Okay. Need to be part of... Okay, no, we answered those. Okay. Wiser asks... If two people... Rockshark asks, did Skipper's old body have any significant effect on how much he could use Aether?
No.
Wiser asks, if two people send out equal strength Aether pings at the same time, do the pings collide and bounce off each other, blocking each from seeing the area already covered by the other, or do they just pass through each other while giving feedback?
The latter. They would intersect, and you would know that someone else was doing an Aether ping in the rough area that it originated from.
MT says...
Well, it depends on the Aether ping, because we've noticed some people, Cadmon's Aether ping is not a normal person's Aether ping, because he's busted, so you will probably be drowned out entirely by that.
Fair enough. MT asks, is there an Aether radar, like a proper long-range radar that can continuously check for enemies, unlike small continuous pings that Dragon used that one time?
Well, that's sort of how Victory's ability Compass works, because it is actively scanning and getting all this information on various things within its, absurd range, but you only have access to that information when you ask it for a specific target and it points in the direction.
Oh, that's kind of
that's cool. The conditions that makes that work, basically.
Lan asks, this is a cute one, what is the closest thing to Christmas in Aetheral Space?
In the well, probably Founding Day, but that will be in different days in the UAP, and a different day in the Supremacy.
So both countries have a Founding Day, though.
Yeah, but it will be different because the UAP is founded in response to the Supremacy aggression. Isn't
there... I know you mentioned there was one holiday they both shared that involved the 1,000 Revs.
Yeah, the end of the 1,000 Revs, yeah.
Yeah. It was their spy. What was that day called?
Liberation
you gave
Day.
It a name.
Let's say Liberation Day.
Yeah, that works for me. Alright, so Founding Day. So do people give gifts and stuff? Is it in the winter?
Well, different planets have different winters, so that's not possible to...
Right.
So it wouldn't...
Fair enough.
It cannot fully be Christmas, I'm afraid.
That's fucked up. JTKC, holidays kind of stop working when you're at multiple planets, because different orbits, different calendars. It's tough to have a galactic holiday. I assume what it is there's a galactic holiday based on the capital planet, and then every planet has okay, this is how we adjust for that plus our local holidays to our calendar.
Exactly.
JT asks, Skipper's getting the crew presents. What does he get each member?
For Ruth, probably some like armor or some weapons that she likes. She likes swords, blades.
Here's a sword I found at the mall, kid.
I found this in a dumpster. Bruno, probably a book of some description. Serena, some video games.
Aww. The gamer.
The gamer. She's a gamer girl.
I did not know she was a gamer girl.
Dragon, probably books as well, to be honest. Someone that makes him feel like he's smart.
I love the idea after everything they've been through, Skipper did not think very hard about these gifts at all.
And for North, bonus for North is an Amazon gift voucher.
Skipper went to Walmart one time to buy everyone's gifts at once.
Yes. And then North gets an Amazon gift voucher.
Nice. Lan says, did you expect AS to take 5+ years to finish when you first planned it?
No.
Alright, and then lastly, Lan asks, do the deads have real names?
The first one did, but the rest are just the dead number.
Interesting. Have they ever tried to make names for themselves?
Not really, no. Because they're born basically knowing that, this is my name. There is no identity confusion, because they are born through an ability, rather than actual randomness.
Right. Like, they don't have anyone to name them. That's fucked up.
Yeah, their identity is determined by from the moment they come into existence. There's no doubt about who they are, for example.
Wow, this says a lot about our society.
Yeah. We should all be the dead. I'll make you into the second door now.
Alright. I think that's all our questions.
Wow. So I do apologise that I did spend Christmas Day with my family not writing Aetheral Space. So
piece of shit! Go home.
I am home.
You're washed.
I'm at home
Wash,
with my family,
Tony.
actually. I've got a little Christmas tree next to my desk. I'm very happy.
I have a very tiny Christmas fern I got from my office that I put a present under. Yeah, not even a tree. I'm fucking pathetic.
Santa's going to come in and be like...
What the hell is this?
He shakes his head and uses his ability M, the miracle, to destroy
he
it.
Goes, Santa's like, fuck this. Schedule breaker.
He'd be naughty. From the moment he's like advancing, he's like, now.
That's what you should have done.
We wimpy attacks could kill me. Truly,
you should have done
from the moment you were born.
You missed your opportunity to do mid-tier bounty hunter Santa Claus, and he goes, someone's on the naughty list, and then he holds up their wanted poster.
Appointment to Santa, obviously.
Oh yeah, because he comes once a year.
Yeah.
Merry Christmas.
Though if there was an Aetheral Space gacha, I do maintain that Santa appointment would be the special holiday summon.
Alright, well thank you all for watching. And we'll see you
next
time.
He would have 12 mechanical reindeer that he summons.
That's pretty sick.
The hell reindeer, like the hell out.
Alright. Bye!
Bye!